Hi everyone.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, excited to be have a fantastic topic today. So we are going to discuss about the Agentic AI and clinical research expert Copilot framework. So you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so we have two big topics. The first one that I will be read will be in generally in the focus on digital health clinical trials is one of the branch of the health technology. And we focus on, as you see that, about 15 minutes to discuss about the best practice guide and challenges in digital health clinical trials. And then we are going to talk about the general framework, but we will focus on in digital health first. So what is meant by the agentic AI clinical research expert co-filer framework? And then we have a fantastic topic today is a clinical trial activation. So in my talk, actually, I'm going to talk about end-to-end clinical trial process. So from design and execution and post-clinical trials. But in the second half of time, we are focused on some part of the most important part actually in the clinical trials, just a bit starting the clinical execution after design, that there was some the challenges to start your clinical trials. So we are going to talk about our new innovation, patent pending, and clinical trial activation orchestration intelligence. So Steven is he is a CEO and founder and also product lead. So in NexTrial AI, so he will briefly introduce what is meant by this agentic AI. In particular, we have a special guest to show live demo. So actually, this is the hot topic, actually the main topic of current today's webinar topic is so Stephen and we collaborate with Celina. Actually, Celina is not human. Celina is agentic AI, and so Steve will demonstrate how he to activate your proposed clinical trials in Copilot with Celina. So it'll be a live demo session. And after this live session, we have about a 10 minutes Q&A that I will moderate. Okay, so I will start my topic first. Okay, so in the first part, I'm going to talk about the best practice guide. So I just analyzed what the current state of the best practice in digital health clinical trials end to end, and then and figure out what's the challenges in focus on digital health. And then we are going to talk about how to overcome this using Agentic AI and the clinical research expert Copilot. So as you see that this session set the stage. So by examining how digital health innovation is outpacing traditional clinical trial models. So there is a bottleneck or the gap. So why new digital therapeutics or you know about the medical like a devices kind of connected device like remote patient monitoring is one of them and AI-driven diagnostics and demand agility and precision. The current trial infrastructure remains slow, fragmented, and heavily manual. So by leaving best practice and challenges will establish the baseline for why a transformative approach it is needed. So the in general way that why I focus on digital health, this is a new, right? So contrary to the like for example the pharma buyer area like a drug like testing something like that, they are well established procedure workflow and model, right? But contrary to that, the digital health is a rather new. So still there are a lot of the things that maybe the difference between the traditional model you can apply. So that's why that I'm focused on this first. And so the most of the thing that is to for this is designed for like a static drug-based intervention, as I told you. So the contrary to the digital health is, for example, the life cycle of the digital health product is different from the drug, right? Because drug is kind of like a long time development and then many different stages of the clinical trial required. But contrary to that, the digital health product usually they are mostly software and combination of the software and medical like a traditional like hardware system or device. So they are mostly software driven, so very rapidly evolving, and then they're like developing pathways that completely different, very short-term and dynamic. So that's why that traditional model for the clinical trial cannot be applied directly. And this mismatch creates regulatory uncertainty and operational inefficiency and delayed the patient access to innovation, right? So this is why I explained that. Actually, this is the one of my main topic, and actually I currently I have a course that I teach as a Johns Hopkins University course as the title is AI Frontiers in AI in Healthcare and digital health. And then the over the like a few weeks kind of like a coursework, actually the I just insist that why I'm interested in this topic. Because one of the things, maybe we have another like opportunity. I'm planning that the separate webinar for this topic is to the current trend that there is a blurring between the well-being product and the medical grade product in digital health. So for example, kind of like you have a mental health kind of like a app, and usually 99% currently they claim that they are well-being product. So they don't need any clinical trial, they don't need any FDA clearance. But contrary to the reality is that because of the high performance of AI. So usually, initially they tend to be think about nothing to do with any kind of medical activities that define the medical device, but actually the AI inside is not that. So the AI provide inside the nearly medical grade, even if your intended is not. So recently there was a huge debate about like what is the welding product and the medical grade device. And then that's the one trend that you can see that for example that the traditionally they call like welding wearable device, for example smartwatch like Apple Watch, Samsung and other Fitbit, many kind of like a traditional like a wearable device. They never targeting any kind of like a medical grade like inside, but because of their inside is completely kind of like a medical grade inside. So you will see that, for example, that there is a database in FDA. They have like most current one is about the 200 kind of like they provide a list of the AI powered kind of like a medical device, and then you see that dozen that's actually the that is supposed to be webbing product. So recently, for example, that Apple provided some kind of like they have an FDA clear, and then they can, for example, they provide like a screening and diagnosis of your heart disease, right? So that's why I'm very interested in. And then in the from the market, actually, the why they want to be webbing product because of the time to market, right? Cost and time to market, right? So they want to be like sell out their product earlier, so in the test in the market. But if you like a traditional medical grade device, and you need to be pathway through like a very long time clinical trial and FDA clearance, right? Even not clear about the like a health insurance reimbursement, right? Without that protecting, actually, even if you have like a successfully passed through, and even I saw that many kind of like company already in the IPO and then have a financial problem. Some company actually bankrupt, right? So I try to make like some kind of like to make my own way to innovation to provide a solution that whether there is a kind of like the fast track, like integration with clinical trial and FDA clearance at one time, right? Because in a short time, fast track, but still rigorous. And then that's why I'm very interested in help from agentic AI, the current state of art in AI. So having said that, I'm briefly go over that what is meant by the traditional kind of the thing. So the best practice that design phase is you can think about hybrid endpoint and combine validated clinical scales product digital biomarkers and proactive alignment with the regulatory precedent early and use adaptive flexible trial design such as Bayesian designs and track version control of the digital product ensuring clarity on which software version was validated. So this is a general framework that if you want to be like a best practice, actually I analyze this one to like a search over. Actually, I have my own AI agent, so I'm doing very diverse ways of research. So it's very similar to in the like for example the ChatGPT they have a deep research. That's another kind of AI agent. So I'm utilizing my prompt engineering. I have my own AI agent do this kind of research. So this is from my AI agent to interact with me to find out what is the best practice in the design has product in the design phase. So you can see the in the red light is summarize everything in the plain English. And then also, for example, execution phase, and you will need to like remote onboarding and in consent to broaden reach and real-time safety monitoring for responsible needs and data harmonization and continuous audit readiness. I already shared this one, so I also share the updated version later through my LinkedIn post or the email. So you will look at detail later. And another thing is a post-trial. So in the post-trial, so regulatory standard data formatting require and creating payer ready. It's very important, right? Because to have a like a reimbursement and cost effectiveness to prove that. So even if you have a kind of like it's not in the market, your product. So actually, for example, that among the digital health product, the only few actually now have a CMS code to be reimbursed, right? For example, the part of the digital therapeutics, for example, the mental health digital therapeutics has a CMS code that can be reimbursed per. And another product is, as mentioned, the monitoring and therapeutic, remote monitoring therapeutics, they call RPM, RTM, has the CMS code. Otherwise, all other products, and the diagnostics usually is hospital supported, right? So without that kind of like we in a, like a subsidized supporting. Actually, the patient, the people cannot support this kind of like another activities for that. So they cannot pay in the out of pocket. So it's very important the cost effectiveness and then the efficacy of this the product to prove it to the like payers is very important, and then it'll be it move out like for example you have a new CMS code or not, right? So that's the one you need to be think about it, and then they will be involved with like real world evidence and real world data. It's utilizing that one, and then building pipeline for real world evidence, and then address usability and accessibility is a part of the good things. So so having said that, you can do best practice, but actually the uh, even where you have a like a guideline to execute this one is another story that you need to be think about it. So guiding principle that I suggest you is I have provided here, so please look at later. And then challenges, even with this one, what kind of challenges across this pipeline, right? Still, persistent challenges include is a fragmented evidence and rigid protocols, and safety signal delays and data silos, and post-trial bottleneck and weak real-world evidence. And these systematic issues inflate cost and delay innovation and demonstrating need for next generation orchestration solution required to end-to-end pipeline orchestration is needed. That's why I focus on, and then I'm very have activities in this space of more than 2 years actually. They're working in this area and have a very diverse innovation in this space. So actually, I try to resolve the problem. So, my answer is I just propose Agentic AI clinical research expert co-pilot framework. But actually, this is one of my general framework that as I utilizing Agentic AI many times and developing new innovation, and then I found that needs of the I found that the current state of art like with large language model and the Agentic AI algorithm is not perfect, right? So I saw the many, for example, large language model provide hallucination and bias, and then they're like a reasoning, and like the agentic AI that I will probably show you this one, like what the agentic is. So they provide this sort of perception, right, reasoning, and they use external tools and the utilizing memory and learning, right? So they are a little bit is close to like general, like for example, like artificial general intelligence is they want to be perpetually replicate the human intelligence, but before that, actually, with the current state of art, is a mimic. The essential part of that one is to kind of like human reasoning process. So perception, reasoning, and external tools and maintaining. This is the one like a function and capability that actually can the agentic AI bring to new innovation space. But I found that I have an intensive experience to testing this agentic AI in different type of application, and I found that they are not perfect, right? And even what I found is that to they are not completely self-learning, right? They self-learn through my interaction. That's my experience, right? Because they getting smarter, interacting with me, and depending on my smartness, right? So whatever I interact with him more smart way, because I'm expert, right? So I found that the party copilot with agentic AI is also very important. Not just the function of the agentic AI, but the party actually interact with agentic AI is very important. And I'm 30 years experience in technology. So I'm very in the deep level understanding of technology. So I can be a good partner to agentic AI. So I found that the one of the way actually that we can like very replicate like intelligence general artificial general intelligence is to utilizing human, right? The agentic AI utilizes human. We utilize AI, but the agentic AI utilize me to get they getting more like smarter. So actually, the ones of the several iteration, they getting smarter and they interact with me, and then this is a joke that actually my agentic AI understood me very well. so so I said like for example that I can this is one example that I said like, I give a talk a lot of time and they ask about the brief buyer, and then I tell my agentic AI that you know me better, right? I'm going to talk about some topic in the conference or whatever, and then provide information about what the conference type and what the audience and what I'm going to talk about. Can you elaborate my buyer based on your understanding of me? And then you provide very well. This is one thing, like we can interact with each other. So that's why that I found that this is very powerful framework. Can you can have a lot of the attack a different type of the problem, and then we are going to focus on clinical trials now. So I'm going to skim over very detailed part because we are waiting very exciting. Like we are going to have an actual real life demo. So so in the design phase, actually, that what can you do, right? Using Agentic AI Copiler. So for example, they can support you like extract evidence from regulators and prior trials from automatically, right? So they support you like clinical research, right? So if you want to design for your proposal of your clinical trial, you need to be research, right? And then traditionally there is a professional do all like Googling or the some kind of like a static tools, whatever, or the limited AI tools they do. But utilizing Agentic AI, this is a perfectly my example that I'm doing this kind of thing every day, right? So my agentic AI interact with me, then I ask about I wanna research something and then they provide the answer, right? So this is one example that I found that this is one of the most powerful function of the agentic AI that utilizing is that they know about the perception about my intention and they know about where to find out the data and then what they have the what kind of relevance data they can extract and then they look at it and then they can understand it and then they provide insight. So this is not just a clinical trial, but this is one function most working. I found that they are mostly like highly perform the function of the agentic AI is this space. So they provide and they simulate alternative trial design. So they try to find out that even you before trial clinical trials, they can provide like a simulation. So they alternative way to this trial design enable. So you will pick and choose the which one best perform for you and the draft like a protocol. So they provide like a design. They support you design your protocols, right? So ready to execute. So this is one of the very important part that agentic AI can support you. And another stage like agentic AI in execution. So they can cooperate with you that tracks protocol and product version and compliance and monitor safety signal in real time and prevent protocol drift and provide dashboard with traceable and regulated trust output. So one of the beauty that I had a separate webinar before about like clinical trial and FDA clearance convergence, right? How actually I'm very kind of like interesting of like how actually then they process the process two process combined. But anyway, because when you are FDA ready and during the whole pipeline of your clinical trials, you need to be like every data generation, every document process should be FDA compliance, right? So that's why you need to design at the stage of the design. You have in implement like embed like it'll be after like a clinical trial, it'll be automatically ready to supply to the FDA clearance. But anyway, because I also have another innovation that actually the supporting your clinical trial pathway, right? So I think about combining two. And then I told you that I'm dream about in the future that I they develop some very fast track integrate clinical trials and FDA clearance and one package in like a fast track way. That's why I'm intended this one. Um, Another one is the post trial. So in the post trial that the generate regulatory submission package, yeah, as I mentioned, and then build payer dossier and HTA report and set up like for example this stage is HTA report is very important for the payers because as HTA report is one of the like for example I did a lot of things this one so I developing agentic AI to evaluate this has product so you may see some of you have seen some of the like Peterson like research center provide some few product. This one has product, and as I mentioned, is they like evaluate the diabetic product, and another one was kind of like some MSK product or some I feel several right, but they are very manually executing, so it took a lot of time. And then I also developed my own agentic AI doing semi-automatically interact with me. So I provide the information about the digital health product with the digital DTX or the RPM, RTM, medical like a diagnostic product. I tested my algorithm. It beautifully working. And then it provides some kind of like the point of intent point, like whether the performance is a 7, 8, or something like that. Also, like they provide like compare with the other peers, what the performance of something like that, right? So this is one of the utilities so interact with that the evaluation, and it will be good like a promoting to the payers that to show you your performance through your clinical trial, right? So that's one actually another like layer you can support from Agentic AI to have automatic like the evaluation and then show you in an objective way to provide the evidence of your performance to the payers, and you can have some kind of like the litmus process you can be in your product, and then you can be marketable, right? So that's one very important factor. And then real world evidence that I'm mentioning, and so in the unified framework benefit, you can think about is kind of like orchestrating entire clinical trial life cycle end to end. So agentic AI can provide the cut timeline, enhance oversight, build a data-driven learning flywheel, right? So I just elaborate one example of how actually that, for example, that some demo. So actually, I tried to show a demo, but actually we have like a very close to like the commercial level product level the demo. So I will default that as a text. But actually, I can show the demo the process. For example, that in this scenario, you can think about the company developing digital therapeutics mobile app for anxiety management. For example, the fortunately anxiety management the product is CMS code. They are reimbursable. So usually they call the software as a medical device. So they are software but medical device in the FDA definition. And then they must learn people to trial and achieve FDA clearance, right? So co-file action that you can scan prior FDA DTX approval and clinical trial precedence and simulate alternative trial design, whether it's traditional RCT or hybrid decentralized clinical trial, or output the regular ready protocol draft with the endpoint, right? Because endpoint is very important. What kind of endpoint is like a complete free to provide your pathway, right? And then so you can in the demo actually on screen the copilot display the side by side simulation of trial arms showing practical recruitment timeline and the regulatory risk scores and recommended design that you can have it. And then how about trial activation and execution? Here that we are going to show like a live demo about our like agent AI in a co-pilot with Steven about how to they actually automating this trial activation process. And then an additional process they can support, like for example, that they launch like a 250 patient across four physical sites plus decentralized node is designing, and how to actually activate initially, right? This is a very important part, and we will show you that how to actually activate. This is one of the bottleneck. Actually, is need a fast track, and then Stephen show you how we make it enable that it can be possible. And then we have like a track software burdening and monitor whatever data streams and the frag protocol drift and many other things that you can have it. And and then even the midterm adjustment, so it's dynamic, so it's not static, right? Because as I mentioned, that digital has product itself is dynamic, right? So you need some kind of like adjustment required during the execution, and then for example scenario, oh there is a dropout rate in one arm begins to rise, right? So what a dropout is one of the most significant problem in the clinical execution. So you can do like a co-pilot action, like identity non-audience pattern, many other things. I recommend you read it, this one. And then here is the human in the loop approval, ensure regulatory defensibility. And then even the close out the submission that they was like a generate after submission package, whether it's a Python K or de novo. or the bill payer, kind of like as I mentioned, that they will be provide good like evidence to the payers to prove the like cost effectiveness and the efficacy of some of your developed product in the under clinical trial, right? So so, and even the continuous learning that I mentioned, that they're self-learning, keep learning. So they understand almost of the clinical trial process and they know about your product very well. Like I mentioned about my Agentic AI, know about me very well. So they know about even that after the things that they still keep going on, that what's the best way, kind of like you can have it, even they remember it, and then your next trial will be better, right? So that is one I try to say you. So it's time to stop. So next is we are waiting exciting. Steven, it's your turn, right? You are I think that you're mute now.
Oh, I double muted. All right. Yeah. I learned that from Argentina. I think one of the Congress guys in Argentina, you always double mute. Yeah. So yeah. Hi, I'm Stephen Thompson. I'm the founder of NexTrial.ai, and we're building the AI orchestration layer for clinical trials. And in plain terms, it's simple. Our mission is trial ready in 30 days, not 120. And as Alex just laid out, why the Agentic AI human copilot framework is essential for modern clinical research. Our role at NexTrial is to show you what it looks like in practice. We've taken the framework and we've operationalized it in one of the hardest spaces, trial activation and compliance. So right now, clinical trials are broken at the starting line, right? Activation takes months. Coordinators spend hours of duplications of SOPs and paperwork, round and round emails. Physicians are buried. Up to 30% of the submissions get rejected. This is fact. Costing sponsors millions, leaving physicians discouraged before they even begin. So that's where NexTrial comes in with Celina, our regulatory co-pilot. She executes trials. She does setup, match, and activate. Trials don't just match to a physician. They do activate. They activate based on readiness signals. Compliance becomes the strength, not the bottleneck. Every SOP drafted, cited, verified before a human ever reviews it. Coordinators stay in control, but all the heavy lifting is already done, right? So rather than tell you more, I'd like to show you how it works. Let's jump in. Let me share my screen here. Boom. I'll just share the entire screen. Boom. All right, let me know when you got that.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. So what we're going to do is we'll jump over to NexTrial.ai. We built this with a modern chat interface. We started, we're a bootstrap startup, and we didn't want to heavy interfaces and forms, dashboards with a chat bot on top of it. Celina's an orchestration. She's trial orchestration, Agentic AI. What the process is a setup, match, and activate. So fairly simple. Set up your site or your physician. We are currently going to demo United States. We are integrated to the NPI registry. So you just add a physician, type in your NPI number. She automatically enriches it, pulls that in. Again, reducing that rework and typing and making sure that the physician is verified with the taxonomy, the research interest, taxonomy codes, address, everything that's there. You can also manually enter the data in here as well. Hit save. Once you do that, we have it creates a card, it creates a profile and context. So inside of AI, we have a context window. Inside of the context window of modern AI, there's the context, which you'll see here on the screen, the enriched data from NPI. You can enter a site manager or a coordinator can enter in any specialities or research interests. oftentimes the taxonomy is a family practice. So if they have a special interest for clinical trials, you can enter that in here. Again, that puts the context in the window for Celina as she executes the match and activation. And then any additional context here. Nice and simple. We have, based on that setup, Celina, she also has, I'll just jump down, the document. So as the physician or site is onboarding, they'll upload their CV, they'll upload a picture, they'll upload all their SOPs, good practice GCP certificates, any additional information that the site needs from their facilities and operations, machine calibration, IATA certificates, everything that's required, right, to be site ready. Celina takes those signals and generates automatically, verifies the certificate with the date, verifies the license, puts that right there in plain English, easy to identify. It has the signals for a site startup. So as you can see here from a setup perspective, the site is ready to match, right? Shouldn't take more than an hour, or depending on the amount of effort that's required from to contact the physician or the site. But a quick setup is done. Once the setup is done, we just jump over and do a match, right? So I'll just jump over here. You just clicked right on in to match. This generates based on the context of the NPI number, nice and easy. So we'll just run through a quick chat with Celina. So she has context, she bases and grounds herself. Behind her has multiple AI agent infrastructure that goes out and does trial enrichment, does the physician enrichment, does the trial search and automation, does trial enrichment, validates against the context, and then leverages the tooling. So all of her tools that is leveraged as well: parsing, generation, Langsmith for explainability. She sorts all of her trial matches with confidence score, highest first. Right, in this scenario, I just chose an wide open search for her. So as you can see, brings it back in a nice, modern, easy to understand, explainable, and auditable fashion. So any site manager, any PI can quickly identify, hey, is this of interest to me? Am I applicable? Is it feasible for me to engage in this trial? And then identify those matches based on the score, based on the reason for the match, contact information, phone number, email, where applicable, where available. Again, multi-agent infrastructure captures and parses all this data and presents it back to Celina. And she just keeps going. So she usually pulls back about 10 on the first run. And then we could ask, narrow the search down based on what we're seeing here. Narrow the search to her location or to a status like not yet recruiting. If we're looking for something in the future, if you're looking to start something quick, maybe something that's active in recruiting status, see if there's still availability. Maybe they're stumbling a little bit with their startup and they're opening it up for, there's one with not yet recruiting. There we go. And then we also have that referral attribution as well. So she's tracking and has chat persistence. So she knows who we're talking about, which physician, which trials. As you can rename your chats, just like all modern chat applications. So we want to make sure that it's not a new login. It's a orchestration. So it's not forms. It's not, again, a chat bot on top of a dashboard. We're here to delete the maze, not to digitize it. There we go. So she identified these trials. What we'll do here is let's go ahead and just ask a little questions about this. So I'll just say she found one that's not yet recruiting. Let's go ahead and jump into that one. Let's ask her for details. Oops, there's my mouse. So let's pick one here that we like. Let's do mental health in children. Education, adopting functional medication. This one, let's choose this one here. So we can ask directly, give me more details on this trial. Again, really just reducing the friction. She's not there to replace a coordinator, a site manager. She's just there to replace the friction and present factual, explainable, auditable data. All of her reason and audit trails are available in our Langsmith database. And again, this is a nice natural language, easy to interpret, easy to understand, and again, fully questionable. So we can ask any type of question. Mouse. There we go. Yeah, amazing. What about the protocol? This allows the site to, again, get better details very quickly about the feasibility of site selection. Is their site capable? Do they have the right equipment, the capacity, the standard operating procedures in order to run this trial? Do they have the patient population? And is this attracted to that specific physician? So again, let me jump over now and let's take a look at a fast forward. So now you've seen the quick and easy setup of a physician or a site with trial readiness scores. You've seen the match, able to match very quickly. And this is a global database, so not only physician to trial, but also trial to physician. So if you had a trial specific or a biotech and you were looking for physicians or new site startup, identifying those physicians and those sites early and being able to include them as new physicians and new sites, letting Celina then stand them up in 30 days, not 120, as a site ready, and then proceed to move forward with SOPs, proper documentation, IRB packets, ICFs, and all of the legal and regulatory requirements. Educate the team in order to move forward, and then identify any gaps or weaknesses. So I'll just jump over here. Again, we are now inside of, let me go back to this one here. So now, as part of Dr. Kirsten Larson, right? She is a perfect match for the Lacrosse study. So if she receives that, she receives back the protocol and she is accepted to pursue feasibility, we can upload directly into her profile the protocol for the Lacrosse study, which is again 190 pages. Not easily interpretable. We upload that securely in a PDF format to her profile, and then as part of the activation, we can query right against the, tell me about the Orchestration study. We have some questions to prepare for this. What she does is she has the parsed context and memory of the physician, the site, the readiness, and the entire study. Easy question and answer back to support any questions during the setup of the trial, as well as during the trial execution. And again, as you can see here, nice and easy, any questions that you might have, maybe about the concomitant use. But as you can see here, fully traceable to the specific audit-friendly line in the parsed protocol. Right? So if we had some recruiting, right? First question is, do we have the patient population? Let's ask if, to explain the inclusion criteria for the patient recruitment in plain English, so we can confidently understand it quickly. Right, and as you can see here, plain language, clear articulation of the source for auditability, and it allows you to really understand the demographics and patient population to select for the trial. So that saves a lot of time. So next, let's check which concomitant medications are prohibited. This is always a tricky one to find inside of that 190-page protocol. So she, again, searches the context, identifies where that is, audit-friendly, gives exactly what weight loss drugs are not, are prohibited, and then also any other things for risk to the toxicity of the serotonin syndrome. Again, during a trial, you can ask questions like, what's the daily dose? If you're running 15 or 4 different trials, she can support you quickly, again, with what's the daily dose, 10 milligrams a day, what's the echocardiogram schedule, providing compliance, speed, and confidence to the team so they can really focus in on the patients. So crystal clear when and where those visits need to take place, on which months, which and how, in context, so the PI and the coordinator can execute on those. Also, when is the week 12 visit scheduled, right? And what procedures are required? So again, week 12, perfect. Can't determine the exact schedule base, but week 12 is visited on the information here. So she will never give you an answer that she does not have. She doesn't guess. She doesn't make things up. So how do we avoid screening errors during, during recruitment? What are the reportable events? Let's flag those. So as always, right, SAE is reportable. So now we need to do a validation, as Dr. Alex had mentioned, right? Keeping up to date with exactly the documents relevant to the protocol, relevant to the legal jurisdiction and regulations. What she will do is you want to now see what the gaps are in your current standard operating procedures. She'll draft an SAE and tied right back to the protocol for that physician with, again, clear, auditable, compliant results in a human-approved handoff. So now we can just quickly just open that up. Boom. Say open and edit. So again, exactly what AI is supposed to do. Do the heavy lifting, as long as it's auditable, as long as it's accurate, and keeping the human in the loop for making the decisions. What she'll do is she generates the SOP, right, based on the template or what their current existing baseline template is with the number reference, the date, the version 2, to the doctor, pending coordinator approval. So this is not approved at this moment. And what's the differences here relating to the protocol? She will generate, right, the existing baseline will have, a basic purpose, but there is a new requirement. She'll flag very clearly new SOP specifically adapted for the protocol, and she'll reference this in the source. Again, 100% auditability. She'll go through the entire SOP top to bottom and make sure that it's applicable, and if there are any changes to the standard operating procedures of this site to run this protocol, she will highlight those. Let's go down. Boom. New requirement here. So again, shouldn't require a significant lift. It should just be if there's a new requirement like MACE, for example. How do we need to handle that? How do we need to adapt? Not all SOPs require have MACE in their standard base SOP. So this one does require a retrofit. She does the write. She does the write-up. She gives you the evidence for that. And then again, adds any additional context to support that, that MACE specific SAE requirement. All the way down, events. All the way down to any new categories that may be included in there as well, specific to this aware protocol adherence target. She'll come down all the way down into I love this, that she always goes down to the timelines as well. So making sure that, again, timelines, less than 24 hours for the awareness of this MACE type. She added in both of these, sponsor as well as the product safety department, flag those, and then at the bottom, any specific notes and reporting inclusions in there. She will again reference this for IRB, and all of these documents, both site, investigator brochure, ICF, consent forms, they are all inputs to the IRB. So then at that point, as you move forward to activate the trial with the sponsor, Celina can then generate the full FDA regulatory ready, zero rejection framework for a packet, which again, AI can now anticipate questions and anticipate answers, understand who the IRB board is for this specific trial, and make sure that the IRB packet and that the site, more importantly, is aware of what the IRB is going to be required in advance and prepare those documents as a proactive precautionary measure. So when you submit that IRB packet to the sponsor for submission, it is reduction down to about 5% rejection from the current 20% rejection state that we're in today. Awesome. And again, one other final thing, I love this part too, is protocols change often with addendums. And what she also does is she will flag protocols change, right? What changed between 4 and 5 and why? Again, keeping the chat, keeping Celina a proactive prompter and engager with the coordinator, with the PI, with everybody involved, to make sure that they're always aware of the changes, both regulatory, protocol, and compliant. And then she'll outline exactly what those changes are and why. So then you can confidently walk in with a reference to where those changes are. So if you have any questions about the sections and wanted to review in detail what those changes are, she can provide that to you. So again, always aware, always proactive. Digitizing the maze is no longer acceptable. We're going to delete the maze. So what does that mean for you? Right? What
Not
does that
bad.
mean for you?
I
You
think
know, for
that we
CROs,
have 5 minutes to have a Q&A time, right? So let me check the whether so one question is so in reality uh, the person's theory at this time agentic AI can perform autonomous action increasing speed. I think that Randy is your question, right? So, could you tell about your question and maybe share your insight or whatever you have it? Randy, I saw you.
I
I
believe
think
that, hi, my name is Randy Masisak. I'm glad I could join this podcast. I believe the question was already answered though,
Uh-huh.
Alex. I need
Okay.
to figure out what happened.
Oh, I
I
see.
appreciate that.
Yeah. Randy is one of the like the participates my webinar for 2 years. Right.
Yes,
Continuously. So he's another my human agent know me very well.
that's right. I'm fascinated by this information.
Yeah, so he know about how my knowledge curve evolved, right? Because starting from the early stage of the DTX and now Agentic AI and then commercial level product implementation, something like that. And then you know that Stephen just showed the flagship product, right? 'Cause activation. But actually, recently we work on our IP strategy, and then actually we are ready to the file a patent. Actually, the three additional agentic AI framework. So as I told you that in different the pipeline stage, we are going to apply this AI agent to make faster than any other like agent system to enable your clinical trials, right? So we once we actually implement, and then we have another webinar to demonstrate you the what other that we are having, right? Because fantastic, right? Because we actually we once we develop four different type of agentic AI that through the pipeline of the clinical trials, actually the we have another orchestration layer, right? And then it will be oversight four, right? Complete pipeline end to end, right? So is that's why I'm supporting the next trial AI work with Steven to have them to not only the IP strategy implementation, but actually we need the fund.
yeah,
Yeah, we need the money, right, to commercialize it, right, everything. But because the landing, about it, right? Because I develop a lot of different innovation, and I really dream about the make them real, right? So that's why I always I need a sponsor, sponsor, right? But anyway, because the one part is I collaborate with Steven about some of my part in the clinical trial to make happen, right? So through the next trial AI, I want to implement my dream because as mentioned that complete end-to-end agentic AI co-pilot to fast track, right? And then my dream is that in the future, right, every like has digital health product will be clinical trial and FDA clearance in a fast track, right? Nobody dispute about whether there is a perform or not, right? And then there was brawling, and then my envision that in the future, right? I just coined the term consumer healthcare. It's not like not anymore like people say it's kind of like a patient centric because I've been in the like healthcare and then the most like significant term I heard about is a patient centered, right? I have never been the actually realized. And then the value-based care, whatever that toy, but actually the fundamental infrastructure system should be changed, right? And then I think that agentic AI and with like Landy and other people they collaborate and then I think to happen. What does this mean in the market wide? You can think about that. If you think about the healthcare, the whole market, they are fragmented. Even the big pharmaceutical, they never been in the top in the stock market, right? You can think about like value creation, right? But what happened in the future, the consumer healthcare, right? it'll be trillion, multiple $1 trillion new market, right? And then everything is proved, right? Guaranteed, right? That's our envision, right? And then we are just starting small step, right? Today. Okay, so it's almost time. Okay, so another question, outstanding presentation. Okay, so talk about different legacy platform you integrate with. Okay, I think that this will be the Stevens you can provide whether it's EDC, ECOA, and other challenges with that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, at this moment, we're, Trevor, we're not integrated. We are in discussions with some, EDC systems and ECOAs, but our current process, our current roadmap is for EHRs to get better integrations for eligibility and pretrial. So pretrial activation, we're still in the trial activation space where, oops, did I lose you? Where eligibility, patient predictive analytics is really our current space. But we are in talks with some of the guys from Epic and Oracle, obviously for the FHIR integrations for that eligibility of patient population to further give that predictive analytics, but also some of the HR companies as well. But nothing currently on the roadmap for EDCs.
Great
Yeah,
stuff.
no.
Great job, guys. Outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yep, Trevor, let's sync up after this.
And another thing, maybe the short case, do you have any project where doctors can participate? Actually, this is the one actually the doctors can participate, right? Because actually, the Stephen already have some small pilot, and then my role and then collaborating Stephen is to activate the another pilot, right? And actually, doctors can participate, right? So that's what we are planning now, right? Because we once have this kind of like some. Actually, so today is just the first announcements of our report, and then maybe we can like find out the sponsors or whatever that the pilot project and the doctor should be participate, right? So
yeah, you can physicians can sign up directly on our website using their MPI number, upload their documents, and be activated immediately. We or be set up immediately through that flow. And yes, we are live in pilots in America. There's several sites in America and also in India. We've got really good traction in India with some large hospitals there, and then we're making ground in Brazil as well. So we're continuing to build and scale in America and in India, and then Brazil is on the roadmap.
Yeah, that's why actually that you provide the answer because there was a question about is the multi-language supported. Yeah, definitely. Without that, actually, we cannot be the global, right? So, but that's one easy part because of the like Agentic AI can understand any language. So, could you name which hospital in India?
I can connect you with our partner over there, Dr. Maya.
Okay. So
Yeah.
hopefully we have another maybe event the planning, right? Because when we have more progress, right? So today we need to start because we almost like past 3 minutes. So I will share this recording with the presentation with you, and then we maybe another like kind of like maybe planning event, and we will share our demo and anything that there maybe. Also, we need the partner, right? Sponsors, and particularly actually yesterday I attended the conference about there was a matching conference between the investor and the startup. So the currently I'm developing the agentic AI can automatically match with the startup and fund and the investors. So I'm going to test with our business first. But anyway, because we need the investors and sponsors and participants, right? So okay, so Stephen, thanks, and everyone, thanks to attend this launch time. So I hope to see you in my next webinar. Okay, thank you.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Have a nice
Thanks,
day. Bye bye.
Woo!